What a wild preseason game for the Las Vegas Raiders. Sure, the scoreboard shows a 22-9 loss to the 49ers, but honestly, that barely scratches the surface of what's happening here. There's so much to break down: Ashton Jeanty's performance, the offense, the offensive line, the defensive front, and Tyree Wilson making plays that catch your eye. Let's get this straight. Preseason games are not the end-all, be-all. One week of highs and lows doesn't define a season. Some people will scream doom and gloom after a single game, while others suddenly act like we're destined for perfection. The truth? Neither extreme matters. The real key is watching each player and unit carefully. How's the offense shaping up? Is the defensive line holding its ground? How are the rookies adjusting? That's where the real story lies. Take a deep breath, relax, and evaluate each performance without overreacting. One game doesn't make or break the Raiders season, so enjoy the show because there's a lot more football ahead. This is exactly why experience matters. Watching the Raiders week after week shows you what really counts. Preseason scores don't define a team, but the growth, improvement, and flashes of brilliance, that's what you notice if you pay attention. Look at the cohesion on both sides of the ball. Are plays being executed cleanly? Are the offensive and defensive units clicking together? That's the real story of the preseason. You can spot which players are stepping up, which rookies are adjusting, and where the team is building momentum for the regular season. Take Max Crosby, for example. From the very first drive, he's showing why he's one of the most dominant defensive players in the league. Every move, every sack attempt, every push against the line of scrimmage, it's clear he's still a force to be reckoned with. Some doubted if he had slowed down, but the preseason shows us he's still at the top of his game. The preseason is a stage for these moments, tiny flashes that hint at what the Raiders can become. It's not about wins or losses. It's about spotting potential, refining skills, and setting the tone for the season ahead. It's frustrating and exciting at the same time. Players like Max Crosby are doing exactly what we expect, making plays and dominating whenever they step on the field. But the secondary still has some holes. Right now, the Raiders' defensive backs are a work in progress, and quarterbacks like Brock Purdy and receivers like Ricky Pierce are finding ways to test them. The biggest improvement: the run defense. Allen Roberts is finally making a noticeable impact, and Tyree Wilson, yes, the same player who had skeptics questioning his draft value, is showing why he was a top pick. He might not fill up the stat sheet, but every play he's pushing back linemen, creating pressure and making his presence felt. Against both the starters and the second stringers, he was all over the field, proving he can be a force in this defense. Even without some key offensive linemen from the other team, Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson were creating havoc, and the Raiders' run defense looked sharper than it has in years. Preseason is all about spotting these flashes, identifying mistakes, and figuring out what needs adjustment before the regular season starts. That's exactly what these games are for, seeing the raw talent, the growth, and how this Raiders team is learning to adapt. What really matters is seeing the team grow and gel from game to game. The Raiders' secondary is still inconsistent. It's boom or bust at this point, but there's a silver lining: turnovers. For the second straight week, a starting safety came up with an interception. Last week, it was Isaiah Palma, and this week Jeremy Chin stepped up. So while the secondary struggles, they're finding ways to make big plays when it counts. Having Patrick Graham working alongside Pete Carroll's system seems like a smart move. Graham has been solid as a coordinator, but now with Carroll's influence, the Raiders' defense has the chance to scheme smarter, especially to cover gaps in the secondary. The run defense has been the real story this week. From week 1 to week 2, players like Allen Roberts and Tyree Wilson have stepped up massively. The line is holding firm, the tackles are creating push, and the linebackers are filling gaps better than ever. You can already see how this growth is shaping the Raiders into a tougher, more disciplined unit, one that can handle both the ground game and the passing threats they'll face in the regular season. Next up, let's dive into the offense and see how the Raiders are building momentum there. We're all here to share takes, make predictions, and analyze what the Raiders are building. Last year, I got caught up in the hype around Antonio Pierce and his first season as interim coach. I expected improvement, pegged the team at 10-7, and let my mind focus on Aiden rather than Gardner. That prediction didn't hit, but it taught me something. Preseason and early expectations are tricky, but the Raiders are showing a lot this year. Looking ahead, I'm sticking to my prediction. The Raiders are shaping up to finish around 9-8 or 10-7. And here's the bold claim. I genuinely believe Las Vegas will have a top 10 offense this season. Some of that may be necessity, given the secondary's growing pains, but a huge part is Geno Smith. Even when Aiden Cameron stepped in briefly, you could see the difference. Geno's command of the offense is unmatched since the Derek Carr era. This game also gave us glimpses of what the offense will look like under Chip Kelly. We saw hybrid pistol formations, read option plays, and college-style passing attacks designed to stretch the defense. Geno's ability to read the field, make quick decisions, and get the ball into the right hands shows that this offense is not just functional, it's dynamic, explosive, and ready to take the Raiders to the next level. We're in the business of analysis, predictions, and breaking down what the Raiders are building, and this year, there's a lot to be excited about. Last season, I got caught up in the Antonio Pierce hype, expecting big improvements from his interim run and pegging the team at 10-7. That prediction missed the mark, but it taught me one thing. Focus on what the team is actually showing on the field, not the narrative. Looking ahead, my prediction is clear. The Raiders are on track for a 9-8 or 10-7 season, and I'm leaning toward 10-7. And here's the bold part. I truly believe the Las Vegas Raiders will field a top 10 offense this year. Some of that urgency comes from the secondary needing support, but a big part of it is Geno Smith. Even when Aiden Cameron briefly took over, you could see the difference. Geno's command, his understanding of the offense, is something we haven't seen since the Derek Carr era. Under Chip Kelly, the offense is showing new layers. Hybrid pistol formations, read option plays, and action designed to stretch the field are now part of the Raiders' arsenal. Geno's ability to execute these plays, make quick reads, and put the ball in the right hands is making this offense dynamic, explosive, and capable of keeping defenses on their heels all season long. The Raiders are no longer just competing, they're evolving into a team that can truly challenge anyone. Right now, Dante is just outperforming Jack as a receiver, but that doesn't mean Jack won't develop into a star down the line. He just needs to refine his game the way players like Jacoby Myers have, learning timing, technique, and how to consistently win in crucial moments. The second team offense and defense had their moments too, some bright spots, some struggles. On defense, Tommy Eichenberg showed flashes, Jonah Lau had his moments, and Carter even recorded a sack. On offense, Aiden made some impressive throws, but also a few mistakes, including another interception. But that's exactly what you expect from a backup quarterback. Mistakes happen, that's why they're backups. Even guys like McCorkle Jones, who led teams to the playoffs, made errors in similar situations. The bigger picture is what matters. The Raiders' future isn't tied to the backups we saw this week. It's tied to Geno Smith and Chip Kelly running the offense. Geno's control, his poise, and the way he commands every play is something we haven't seen in years. I've watched the Raiders go through highs and lows, through rebuilds and collapses, and this combination of leadership, talent, and coaching is starting to show glimpses of something special. I know what bad football looks like, and I know what good football looks like. Right now, the Raiders are showing flashes of the latter. The secondary could still cause problems, but the safety group looks solid. Linebackers are making plays, and the defensive line is holding up much better against the run. On offense, Ashton is proving why he could be a top rookie this year, and Geno Smith might be running the most explosive offense of his career. But it's not just about the players. Coaching plays a huge role. Chip Kelly's schemes, adjustments, and ability to get the most out of this roster are what make this offense dangerous. When we talk about top 10 offenses or elite quarterbacks, it's always a combination of talent and coaching, and the Raiders are starting to show both in action. As the regular season approaches, it's important to enjoy the growth without overreacting. Preseason is about evaluating, spotting improvements, and getting excited for what's coming. We're only 2 weeks away from real football, and the Raiders are showing signs that this season could be special. Ride the wave, watch the progress, and get ready. The Las Vegas Raiders are gearing up to make some noise this year.